Hey guys, welcome back to the ESS podcast. I'm your host Ashley, and Mac is out again today, but we're sending love and prayers his direction just because he's been having a lot of health issues, and there's nothing you can do about that. So we're excited though. We have Ashton Stevenson with us today. He is from the music world. So we're kind of diving into the other side of the entertainment field and just really thankful that Ashton is here to be with us today and kind of share a little bit about his music journey. Now, we've had Ashton on here before. If you guys don't remember that prior, and it was right before you had your international debut, right? You just got like an international gig. Was that
I yeah, well, I just probably came off of it because I
okay?
think we spoke in 2021. I had just had my first international tour in 2019, so I was kind of fresh off of it. COVID hit after that, so technically, yeah, it was pretty fresh after that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, COVID kind of took a lot of people out. So,
yeah, yeah.
but we're gonna see where he's at now. What's he's got going on in his life? He's got a kid. Life changing. Oh my gosh. So Ashton, tell us, what are you into? What's the word over there? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so I'm definitely since the last time we spoke. I'll say at that point in my life, I was definitely getting more stable because I say the previous years it was more just traveling, running around, and COVID came, so that kind of just made everything kind of sit back a little bit more. Really changed the whole plane of music, entertainment at that point in time. And personally, a lot of things changed for me as well. Again, like you mentioned, my son. I had my first son. He's about to be a year next week, actually. Um, a couple of projects since then. I think also just a lot. It was a lot more personal. It was a lot of things that changed business. We ventured off into more businesses as well. But I think for me, the biggest changes were definitely personal changes. Just mentally, spiritually, even physically. I started back working out again. So if in high school I was more athletic, then kind of outside of that, chilled off a little bit. But I think having children kind of brings that perspective of making you want to pay attention to yourself and want to be here to raise them. So I started paying attention, physically, and got more discipline on that end. So it was a lot of especially last year, it was a lot of personal things that I worked on that I've been wanting to work on, but just didn't feel like I have the time to. So,
I feel you on that one, and I think that's like really smart to kind of work on yourself first and get there before you dive into your next escapade or project or whatever you're doing. So
sure.
I've had to do that multiple times. I think COVID kind of helped everybody get to that point where it's like we need to get down to business, like the real business, before you go to the next level. So
Exactly.
yeah, especially when you have kids, I think that kind of gives everybody a coming to Jesus moment where you're just like, ah, I don't want to turn out to be like me. Let's switch gears here a little bit. So yeah, yeah. You released recently a new album, right? It was Jubilee
Hmm.
version 2.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this, because there's a pretty cool story behind it from what you were telling me.
Hmm.
And let's figure out like how, like what got you inspired to release this and, all the fun memories and stories behind it.
Yeah. So this volume specifically, shout out to PA on the track. He produced the whole project and he engineered, mixed the whole project. We actually did this in 15 days, which was crazy. And it wasn't intentional. We didn't have the mindset of like, oh, we're gonna create this project in 15 days. It just kind of happened that way. Last year, I say around November, I released the first version of this project, Jubilee, and it was entitled Volume One because I knew it was gonna be another part that was coming. With my projects, how they come to me, I don't necessarily plan them out ahead of time. I just do them as I'm inspired to do them, and that came to me last year. I didn't even know what the word meant. Like the word Jubilee came to me, so I started doing research on it, and I think that kind of built the theme of all these two jubilees and any future ones that I'm going to create. They're based on just celebration, but also freedom in a sense of, breaking away from old habits, old mindsets, breaking away from financial limitations, breaking away from sometimes even people that you need to get out your life. And I think that's just been the main theme for both of these projects. But this one specifically, I felt like we kind of took what we did on the first one and gave like the next chapter. That's kind of how I explain it to people. I'm like, this is kind of like, it's if you're reading books, like it's like the next volume of a book. You know what I'm saying? Like the last one may have left off on a certain note, and then we take that and continue off and build off of this one on this one. But so yeah, I went on vacation. I always go on a New Year's vacation. That's just something that we always do. So I went on a New Year's vacation, and I was talking to PA, and I had already started working on some songs, and some of the songs were actually left from the original project that just didn't make the cut. And so we kind of had those. We were already working on those, and as he was mixing them, sending them to me as I'm on vacation, and I'm giving him input, I was like, we might as well go ahead and make the next volume from this. And when I got back, we actively worked on it. And so between, vacation was probably like 3 to 5 days, and then we got back, and then we worked like 10 days actually working on a project. And this is how we came up with Jubilee Volume Two. The artwork came to me probably a little bit right before we was releasing the project, because that's another thing too. My artwork is always like inspirational. I hate to just put stuff just to have a cover for something. And so in the background, you see me in forefront, but in the background is people that mean play some significance either in my life or in my career. And so I think that was like also one of the biggest themes of this project. And we just had fun making it, man. Honestly, we didn't come into this project with any pre thoughts. We kind of just came with exactly what was given to us, and the reactions and how people have been relating to it has been amazing. That's great to me, because I never go into the project thinking of like how people are gonna consume it. For me, it's usually like just a journal, like how I feel what music is, and it's just amazing to see how people relate to what you have to say or your story. So I think that was pretty cool.
I love that. I think that's fantastic, and I like how you brought up the background because I was going to ask you about that. As
Yeah,
far as all the pictures and stuff, you can see that you got you and your son, and you got your family on there, and I
yep,
love how you're leaning on this pillar, and it's like these guys are my pillars in my life. Like that's kind of what
exactly.
I'm picking up from. I don't know if that was like
Not,
intentional, but
not.
that's how I see this.
You're
So
spot on. You're spot on. You're spot
yeah,
on. I'm glad that you spotted that out. I got my son. If you see my nieces and my nephews,
all
and then
right,
bottom right, that's if you you may have seen me between some of that time working with that's my brother one Drew. And
I think
we actually
so.
met in 2019, and we just built a bond. He's another artist, and we've done collab projects, and it's crazy, kind of like our families kind of integrated in a sense. And I was at his baby shower, so that's that photo. And the top left corner, that's a younger picture of me and my cousin. Right before I released the original Jubilee, he passed. So
Wow.
yeah, and so it
Sorry.
was kind of like a homage to him as well, and just in
Yeah.
general of my family and where we come from, just that foundation. But yeah, thank you for that as well. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. And I think it's really important to, how okay, so you can't get anywhere in your life without people being there to support you. I know there's, the spotlight can be on one person, but you forget about the fact that they had a huge group to get them there. So like even on a set, you've got the one main actor, right?
hmm,
We'll say Robert Downey Jr., whatever, who's ever up
yeah,
there. And to get to that process, the things that they have to go through, the people that they have to contact or touch, the scripts that they have to read from people who have written them, not just makeup, not just lighting, not just the gaffing or all this stuff. Like you actually have to, and for a song too, it goes, you're the creator of it, but then you have to have the engineers and sound designers and scrubbing and all that stuff. Or you could do it yourself as well. Music
yeah.
artists are pretty incredible with how far you guys can take everything, and it's a little bit above me on that one. But
Thank you.
you know, yeah, you have a team that is always pushing. So I think that's great, Ashton. I think that's
Yeah, For
It's really
sure.
smart.
I would not be who I am without my team. I'm not shy about that. My wife manages me. Again, PA produced it. Shout out to Desi Design that actually took the concept and the idea of the cover and made it what you see. Because there is some things that I can do, but a wise man told me like if you can delegate things to people that are better than you at doing it, you'll be better off doing that instead of trying to take on the stress for yourself, especially if you don't like to do it. That's my thing too. I'm big on just doing things that I don't
Yes.
want to do. Like I kind of always been that way since a child. Sometimes it came off in the negative things, but as I've grown, I just realized it's like okay, everybody has a purpose, and if you don't want to do this for some things you just gotta suck up and do. But if you like genuinely, it's stressful for you. It's a reason behind that, and I kind of took that in a way that I delegate things. I try to focus on what I know I do well and what I love to do, and that's what I do. And the things like engineering and producing, I'm happily giving that off to somebody that I trust with my vision and to build it and bring it to life because that's just how it works. Yeah, I shout out to my team, and I wouldn't be nowhere without my team. That's why every time I get on stage, I get in front of people, I always say, if you know me, you know it's AME, and that's my brand, and that means that if you know me, when you see me, you're seeing people, you're seeing people that's behind me, you're seeing my family, you're seeing my team, you're seeing people that's been supporting me for decades, for at least a decade now. So it's not just me. Even though you may see my name, it's never just me. So,
I love that. You're a rare one, Ashton. I appreciate
thank
that.
you.
I know like your wife is adorable because I've met her at least once, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she's just great. I mean, just a great person, and she's a boss, and I love it. So it's just great to have that family, that those friends there for you,
yeah.
and to your team that pushes you along to your next goals and gets you where you need to be. So jumping into that, let's talk a little bit about like one of your favorites times on the road, or if it was in a recording studio, a moment that
Mhm.
you had where it was just like, things blended together really well, or just a memorable experience for you.
Yeah, I'll say a memorable moment for me um, on the road. I'll give it on the road first. This is my first time touring internationally, and we were in. Um, First of all, let me say this. Was my first time going across to another country in a sense. I've been to island countries like Bahamas and Jamaica up until this time, but I have never like actually flown out the country like across the seas. So mind you, a culture shock in that sense. First time being over there in a new environment, and I'm on somebody else's set. It's part of a festival. It will be something compared to like over here, like a Rolling Loud or something like that. It was like a bigger festival, and I got in on someone else's set, a Canadian artist, and so I had a time slot. So you're not expecting much. First of all, these people don't have no reason to like you. You're not even from here. And walking out on stage and seeing, like, first of all, the amount, because that was by far the largest amount of people that I ever performed in my life. And seeing how I was able to take control of the crowd and them actually listening, tuning in, vibing, shouting, it was a feeling that you can't really explain. It's kind of like the same feeling as an artist when you perform in front of somebody and they're like regurgitating your music word for word. It's just a certain feeling that you can't really explain. But it's a feeling of knowing that something is connecting. Because a lot of time when you do music, we do it like in the sense of we're just in the backdrop creating this thing, and you have no idea how people are going to react to it. So when you get in front of people and you see how they react, it's new to me every time. And I know some people would be like, "Oh man, I know you get this all the time, or you're probably used to this." I'm like, "Nah, as an artist, you don't really get used to that feeling. I don't care. Like even the bigger art, I don't care how many times they see it. That every time that they see somebody react to their music, or they see somebody that's just reciting their music word for word, it's a certain type of feeling. Like it's a high in a sense. Like it just it's like okay, yeah, this is what it's for. Like I know that this was purposeful. That's how I feel. But that was a moment like me walking out on stage, saying where I'm from, and people like engaging, screaming. Um, I went took a live high energy set and literally brought it down, and I sat on stage literally in front of probably like 500 to 1,000 people, and everybody was like tuned in. Like you could hear a pin drop in the crowd, and I was like, dang, that's amazing, because I took a gamble when I did it because I didn't know how people were gonna react to it, because it could have been like, man, get this guy up out of it, who you think he is. But the fact that um the presence that I carried on that stage must have done something enough for them to tune in, and was just like, whoa. And it was not a song that you would expect to be played at a festival, yet everybody tuned into the song. And then of course I took back up to the live stuff, and we had fun after that. But I think it was just something about that initial just start of it. It was such a gamble, and the team, shout out to the team that was coordinating the set too. Um, they took a gamble too when they did it. They was like, I don't know how this is gonna work, and we're gonna try it out. And I was like, I'm with it. Let's do it. And literally, as soon as I got the mic, I literally sat in the front of the step on the stage, and everybody was like glued like this, every word that I said. And I'm like, oh snap, this is amazing. But that was just a moment on stage that always stands out to me, on the road. But it's plenty of stories on the road. It's a lot of good, bad. I remember another moment, when I almost got stuck in France. Right after that, this was after, like, in 2019, when they had it was a bombing or something that they had that happened over there, and we were having issues in the airport, and so it was like stuck in the airport for like a day, and you got like these. You're in a foreign country and you're watching people holding ARs walking by you and stuff, and another person that was with me, he tried to play his American card, and I guess it didn't cash right, and we almost got guns like pointed at us, and we was telling like, yo, don't this is I don't know where you're from, but where I'm from, somebody has a gun, you don't necessarily just walk up to them and just say whatever, you know what I'm saying? But he played as American. Hey, I'm American, da 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 da. And they was like, yo, and I was like, oh man, I'm thinking in my head like, oh man, I'm not gonna make it out of this country. I think one of
What?
my
Yeah.
worst
Oh
thoughts is
my
like
god.
going to jail in another country. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to experience that. But nah, we made it out. God is good. We made it back across. But yeah. So it's like it's always, no matter what, like those touring and the road moments, people see the highlights, but it'd be a lot of crazy stuff that happens too while you're on tour, especially as an independent artist. But you always look back and you can laugh at it like now. So it's cool.
Yeah, I mean that's good that you can laugh at it. I know in the moment though it can be like, oh my gosh, especially when you're dealing with live situations. And I know from like the behind the scenes and the tech and stuff, and things always go different directions when it's live. I've always heard from the different mixers or sound engineers, they like the analog mixer boards are the best because they're the ones that give you the least amount of problems during live situations where you just can't, worry about the digital losing whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, but wow, that's pretty crazy. I didn't know, I didn't know you had that issues.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
fun.
it's it's one of like a lot of stories on the road. But again,
Wow.
I love it. I love all. You know what I'm saying? You can't take one and not take. You can't take the good and not take. I won't even say it's bad. It's just like experience. You can't take. You got to have the whole experience of it. So I'm grateful for it. I was thankful. At the time, I was very stressed, but looking back, I'm like, man, that
That
was that
probably
was
makes you a
crazy.
different person.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it also, like, it kind of broadens your perspective too.
Hmm.
Because it shows who you are as a person. It shows the type of place that you come from. And some, especially, I'm from a small town, so I had a very limited mindset of what the world truly is. And going out into the world, I'm like, whoa, people think totally different ways. Everybody don't think like you. Everybody doesn't have the same culture as you, and you learn to respect, other people's culture, other
Right.
people's space. And yeah, that's one thing it definitely taught me, was like. But at the same time too, I will say, when you give that respect, that respect is given back to you. Because
Yeah.
I
A hundred
had that
percent.
moment, but I really had moments where it was people that just blatantly like disrespecting me from other cultures, or it was always just a love, and a respect for the craft itself, nothing else, just respect of what you're doing.
Hmm. That's awesome. That's super awesome. And it does. traveling does really help give you that perspective on how other people, just like their days are completely different than ours. And so it's like it gets you out of your shell, kind of helps you to think outside the box and like see others, other ways of doing life basically. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
yeah, that is really cool. Do you have any, now that you've explained all those really cool things that you've been through and some not so cool,
Yeah.
but what are some words of wisdom that you would give to people that are getting into the music industry now?
It's crazy that you said it. I just had a conversation with a younger artist while I was just in Tallahassee, and I gave him a lot of business tips. I gave him some just gems, but the biggest thing I would say, and I think I noticed that he gravitated the most to any artist, to any creative, is to be authentic in who you are. Like if I can give any advice, anything that would take you the furthest, I would say that. Be yourself. You know what I'm saying? Be authentic to who you are, and regardless of what's going on in the industry, regardless of what's going on around you, regardless of what people are saying about you or to you, don't change that. Don't change who you are. And if it is negativity that you seem to attract, then maybe it's a work within yourself that you need to begin to work on, because what you put out is what you know who you are. And if you don't like what comes out of you, then I think it's time to maybe do something within yourself. But I don't ever think anybody should be inauthentic in the art, because it comes from you, it comes from your heart, it comes from your soul. So as long as you're being true to what that is, somebody in this world is gonna relate to you. And that was my advice to him, just like my advice to any other creative. Don't change that core of who you are. You know what I'm saying? We can grow and push ourselves. We can expand the boundaries, but don't ever, like, if you're stepping into something that you feel like it's not you, then maybe it's not you. You know what I'm saying? And no matter what, be that first. Be yourself first.
Wow, you should be like a motivational speaker. That's 100% right. Like you're right on the money, Ashton. That's why I like
Appreciate it.
bringing you onto the show. I love talking to you just because you're very real and you make it real to the artist too. Because I think there's so much pressure, especially depending on who you are. And you can feel like you need to cave to those pressures or lose yourself in the mold, and you don't have to necessarily. Like you need to stay true to who you are. And I think that just, I'm glad that you are encouraging especially young artists to do that, because it's not always easy to stay true to who you are or what you're doing, your morals, anything like that. So I think that that's, yeah, really great words of wisdom as far as
Yeah,
that goes.
for sure. And I speak it from experience. I'm not perfect myself, and I didn't definitely waver a lot in my life on certain things or conform to what the view that people had for me. You know what I'm saying? But everything that worked for me, I can say as an artist, is it comes from that core of being authentic and being yourself. So that's why I always get that advice. Like no matter what, it's a lot of, especially music. It's no blueprint for it, and I think a lot of people try to put this, you know, thing of you have to do it this way, you have to do it this way. This is the only way to get in the industry. This is the only not, and it's just like, bro. First of all, the industry is people. It's not a machine. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The people is what creates what's popular or what's happening or the wave or the sauce, and then the industry takes that and runs with it. But it's the people first, and as I told him, I'm like, you make music for people, not for the industry. Like, and that right there is what's gonna. That's
100%.
the goal. That's what's gonna get you to where you're trying to go to. And yeah, that's always that's my focus now. That's my main focus with everything I create. Is like actually touching people instead of looking at it as the industry in a sense.
Yeah. You're a breath of fresh air. It's awesome. It's very true.
Thank you.
People are what, you can't sell things to air. You have to have the people there to create that vibe, to create that need, and everybody's got a story to share, and somebody else needs to hear it. Like there's
Yeah.
always somebody that needs to hear that story. So I really appreciate that. And speaking of which, how can we find you to help support and promote and listen in and follow you? Where can we get you, and find you?
Yeah, so on all my social platforms, it's Ashton Stevens, it's Ashton Stevens. It used to be Ashton Martin. So if you were currently searching that and nothing pops up, it's because I actually had a name change. But on all social platforms, it's Ashton Stevens. On streaming platforms, it's just Ashton Stevens. My old, if you're on Apple Music, my previous music, most of that is still under Ashton Martin, but my new releases and my future releases are under Ashton Stevens. That's the only thing that's still Ashton Martin in a sense, but everything else is Ashton Stevens. Every platform, everything that you search me on, if you just put in Ashton Stevens, you'll find me.
Awesome. That is super cool. So we'll find you. I've already searched you and found you. So if I can do it, you guys can too. So get out there and go find him.
And that was the reason why I changed my name. That was one of the biggest reasons. Ashton Stevens is my actual name, anyways.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my actual name. But that was one of the reasons. It was so many issues when it comes to searching, and it just also like the journey of being myself as well. That was like the biggest thing. Like I just want to be me now. Like I just want to be exactly who I am.
That's really cool. You really did like full transformation. I think that's fantastic.
And it's not taking away Martin because Martin is an acronym. So I just look at Martin more so as what I do, and Ashton Stevens more so as who I actually am. You know, so that's kind of like the separating, and that's why like even if you look on the Jubilee Volume 2, it says Martin at the bottom. You know, because that's kind of like the AKA of this whole project.
I saw that. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's representing that transformation, but yet and still that mission is still the same. Martin stands for motivating all relevant to inspire nations. In other words, it just means I feel like my purpose here is to lead leaders, build, motivate people who motivate people, in short.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we're like getting close to time, but that jumps into, I don't know if you wanted to talk about your agency that you guys are starting.
Yeah, for sure.
Open the floor up with that. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so this is very, very new. And it sounds crazy even thinking about how fast this happened, but since this January, me and my wife have started an insurance agency. We specialize in health, Medicare, PNC, which is property and casualty, and life insurance. So she was the Medicare lady beforehand. She's been in that industry probably about a year and some change, and she recently got back into corporate the last past year, and it was she couldn't sell on her position in a sense, so she kind of had to put it on hold. But it was something that she's very, very passionate about, and working in that corporate world, she just got tired of it. And then we had a son, and she felt like she wanted to be more for our son as well, and so she decided to leave corporate. From there, we started our own agency, and we are going fully live April 15th. It's SWS Stevens Wealth Solution, and I'm super, super excited. Just these couple of months, we've done so much with that business, and it's crazy. It blows me even now. I'm thinking about it, like talking about it. I'm like literally like realizing like, okay, this is nuts. Like we literally started this in January. Literally like the idea of like putting together, and we're here now, going live April 15th. Stevens Wealth Solutions, and for any people that's in the entertainment industry, the property and casualty is more for you, because if you're looking to insure literally anything you do, equipment, venue owners, people that book artists, to protect your deposits on the artists. If you need insurance, which you do, if you get to that point and you start booking your events, you're gonna need that insurance. They're gonna ask for it. That's me particularly. That's what I specialize in, is PNC. So definitely contact me.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was the name of it again? Stevens Solutions?
Stevens Wealth Solutions.
Wells Solutions.
Yeah.
WELLS?
WEALTH.
Oh, Wealth Solutions. Sorry.
Yeah, Stevens Wealth Solutions. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to pop that up here. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So give Ashton some love there, follow him, and reach out because, yeah, if he's You always need insurance for just about anything in life.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh
That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm super excited for you guys. You're so adults. I mean, like you guys have always been super mature, but I feel like you guys are like extra adults and just like super like you're always on it. You always have a plan, and I just love that. I think that's so great
Yeah.
about you guys.
I,
So
I I adult when I adult. Other than that, I am definitely a big kid for sure.
you have to have a kid too. You know what I mean like you have to have the kid inside of you. You can't lose that because then you just
Yeah.
kind of lose your sparkle and you grow up to be a grumpy person. And it's just not good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think also we both the oldest in our out of our siblings, so I think that plays a part. You know, like when you're the oldest sibling, you kind of like the second parent in a sense. So we kind of both play that part in our family. So I think we kind of used to like
Yeah.
being like that. Those people, like you know. So
Okay.
I think that definitely plays a part.
Okay, I get that now. I totally get that now. Like I'm the
Yeah.
oldest girl in my family, so like I totally understand that vibe.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you second mom. That's yeah.
Yep,
Just that.
exactly. You're the second dad, we're second mom. Yep, that's exactly how it works. Yep.
Yeah. It's
Yep.
crazy because I feel like older sisters are even more in that role because like the way her siblings are with her, she's literally like their mom. Most of them are grown too, but they still come to her like for mom
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
That's crazy.
She's forever their mother. Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's so awesome. Well, I so appreciate you taking the time, Ashton. Was there any last little words of wisdom or anything that you wanted to share before we ended for the day?
Nah. I appreciate you having me and being on a part, and you know, to everyone else, if anything, even if you just want to connect and talk, get at us, get at me. I got you. You know what I'm saying? I'm here.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely reach out to Ashton. He's just such a fun person. Great vibes, great person, and great music. So go listen to his music.
Thank
And we'll see you guys back here next time on our ESS podcast. And maybe Mac will be with us at one point.
you.
But thanks so much, Ashton. Appreciate you for taking the time. And thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we'll take care and we'll see you guys back here next time.